Good morning from Inverness. The weather is meh. It's actually nice and cool. It's been quite hot the last couple of days. It's nice and cool, quite a breeze. So we've got some blue sky and then some kind of clouds. So I'm actually kind of hoping there is going to be some rain today, but we're just going to have a wee chat about what needs done in the garden at the minute because we've got a big to-do list. So my compost is not working, so we need to look at that, get something in plan for that. These are bags of cedar wood shavings that I got from a friend. Very small shavings, as you can see. I thought I'd be able to use them in the hen house, but then I read Mr. Google says you shouldn't really do that because it's got essential oils. It could therefore irritate the skin of the chickens. So this is the bit that we reseeded. This is where one of our natural compost piles was. So we reseeded this with grass. It's patchy because again it was really wet and then it was really dry and it's been really hot. So what we thought we would do is let that go a little bit longer. You can see there's lots of weeds in it and that's fine. I mean, this ultimately was a massive just pile of garden junk. So once I've cut this area, we will give it a good thorough soaking and then seed again. So hopefully that will help there. These onions, these have just got wind battered. A lot of them are sending up scapes. They're very tiny. So what I thought I would do is actually just pull them up and we'll harvest them now and have them as salad onions because they're not going to bulb up anymore. So this is a horrific nightmare that is known as, basically it's where the fruit bushes are. You can see the gooseberry there, and then all of this is blackcurrant, and this has been overtaken despite a very heavy mulch that you can still see in some places, overtaken with dock. So at some point, I'll just come back so you can see the scale of it. At some point that whole thing needs to be dug over and mulched again. I might even put down some weed membrane just because that's a nightmare and it's just looking horrendous. So sorry, it's getting a bit windy again. Hopefully I won't interfere too much with the sound. I'll put my back to the wind. So this area, which is we describe as the mound, because when we moved in here this was a massive mound of soil that was basically sitting on top of where the septic tank goes. It's under all this, and it was just claimed by nettle and weeds and grasses. So what I've done is, we've built this little kind of wall around here, and this is year 3 of trying to tame this bit, and we have actually now got some quite useful things in here. So we've got some rhubarb, there's lots of native wildflowers. That's the ragged robin there, it's really pretty. We've got a juniper, there's a broom, a broom, that is a bog rosemary, and all this at the back here was seeded to wildflower mix, and so we've had a great show of forget-me-not, and there's a couple of teasels here. This is all comfrey. So yeah, this now needs to be stripped out at the back here, but we still have some cornflower and poppies left to flower, so I don't want to take them out just yet. This is delphinium that I sowed from seed. It's just so dry here. This soil is pretty poor, even though we have worked it as best we can. It's good quality when you get under it, but it's got really, it's so free draining that it's just dry all the time. This I think is a mallow, which again I think is a native wildflower. I think that's possibly red campion. And then we've got some things that we've bought in here as well. So that's an anemone, and that's another one there, really not doing so well. This is the feverfew. It just takes over everything. It's absolutely massive, but it does have a lovely herby smell, and it will have little daisy-like flowers on. So that'll look all right anyway. That's an Aquilegia back there, which has had a lovely show of blue flowers that's going over now. We've got poppies. You can see this is all just hanging on from the wildflower mix. Okay, so more red campion, which I've amusingly is a beautiful pink. We've got some poppy coming up here. This is an unusual variety of poppy, so I'm looking forward to seeing them. It's a sort of a grey poppy. I think it was called Amazing Grace, possibly. Something like that. There's a bit of loosestrife in there, another rhubarb. And I planted some of this really nice, I sowed this from seed. This is Alaska nasturtium. I was just waiting to see what kind of flowers it would have, and actually they're quite pretty. But it grows really well. It's not too fussy about the soil. I've got a couple of them. And then this is I think this might be the milkmaid variety, because I had 2 varieties of nasturtium this year. That's a random mignon dahlia. I don't know whether that'll do anything. A couple of wee cosmos, really just to form that border with the very wild bit across the back here. Now we use this very back corner here as a kind of natural garden composting area, so there I've made a wee, just a path really to keep the cow parsley away from the rest of it. And then that's where we've been laying a lot of our cedar chips at the back there, just to mulch that down under the trees. And we've got a big wood pile, which is all wood from this place. So that's where I keep the chicken stuff. Yeah, that goes without saying. And then round here, again, all work in progress. Turns out the sun deck only gets sun half the day. And this is the problem with designing a sun sitting area when you're in the middle of winter, because actually these trees are much bigger than they were last year, especially this one. So basically that seat there only gets sun for about a couple of hours in the morning. Obviously it's not sunny just now. And this one gets sun till lunchtime. Thank you, Rusty. So yeah, this is all underway. Some serious weeding needed here. This is all mint. Some wise previous tenants put in a massive bank of mint. And that's what we cleared just after winter to put the polytunnel, well, greenhousey tenty thing here. So the mint has made a rebellion and has started to come up all around it, but I am going to weed that out. Luckily there's hardly any mint coming in the greenhouse, so that's good. This is the loosestrife. We've got this everywhere. It's lovely. Brings a really nice show of colour. So things are kind of, I'm not even going to show the back of the shed because everything's out of the, sorry, not the shed, the greenhouse. Everything's out and it's all over the floor. So sweet peas coming. We had so many sweet peas this year. I literally just shoved them everywhere there was space. We've had to prop this gooseberry up. I mean, this is just the most ridiculous amount of fruit coming here. It was all trailing on the ground, so we've put in just a wee support for them to keep them off the ground until we can harvest them, and then we'll have a proper prune, because it's just crazy the amount of fruit. And this is all the black currants. Same again. Tons and tons of fruit this year. It's always a good harvest, to be fair, but this seems like it's a bit extra. So there's even a couple going ripe there already. They'll be very tart, I'm sure. And then here overhead, before we get carried away, cherry. So how many of these will actually make it to ripen and we get to eat? It is a bird cherry, so they are quite tart and they're very small. They're not like obviously not like the cherries you'd buy in the shop, but hey, it's cherries. Birds love them. So do we. So I appreciate the wind has probably been dry, like I said, so we've been saving water. We have rain collection water butts. We have 2 great big ones up at the back of the house, and we have to bring the water down because although both of the hen houses have their own water butts, water collection, it's run dry. It's all been really dry, not had much rain. Again, we'll do a proper look at the garden later so you can see what's all growing. This is a to-do list. Okay, we've been laying weed membrane, and a good friend of ours has very kindly been letting us take chips from her garden that she had a couple of piles of, so that's been really good and they look amazing. I'm hoping that will help me to keep the weeds down between the beds. I spend much more time weeding between the beds than I do doing anything else in this garden. So that kind of that balance needed to shift some more. So the wind's getting up now, it's pretty windy. It's pretty chilly actually when it comes to it. So I'll come back later when it's maybe not quite so windy. Well, flowers are out though. Couldn't go without showing these beauties. You know it's proper spring here, and well, we're actually summer now, aren't we? But when these come out, and they're absolutely everywhere, so that's lovely. But yeah, I think it'll be a jumper day, so we'll be back later on with some progress reports of all the things that we should have done and probably won't get round to. Well, it's about 10 hours later. Much more still. Whew, it's a roaster. As soon as the wind dropped, it got pretty warm. So, a few things ticked off the to-do list. The first thing was this, to weed this rockery, which had got a bit out of control. So that's much better. And then up in the corner, there's another kind of border area. It also had become very out of control and was a pheasant dust bath. The buddy is looking quite good this year. So yeah, that's 2 things checked off. And in fact, we finally got round to finishing mowing the grass. And I'm just tidying up along this wee edge here. I have to cut the grass away, so I'm going to weed all that. But that's a kind of bordery bit along the wall, which goes all the way down to here, which is where the old path goes up to the old gate. So there we go. That's how it's going so far. Very still. You can hear not a peep. Actually, you can just about hear the turbine. But it's the stillest it's been for ages. And that is a blessing, because it's pretty windy up here, usually. That's it for now. Okay, it's 9:30 now. But he's just giving all the sheep a fright. That's how he rolls. Did a bit more strimming today, so that's off the to-do list. We'll go this way. I tend to leave this bits of the grass long because that's where the daisies are. Pond isn't looking too bad. This beautiful evening light. Okay, so absolutely nothing got done in here today. So we have had a pretty full day. So all this morning, I had all the stuff that came out of the greenhouse everywhere, all over the place. You see, I'm starting to get blossoms on my random runner bean plant. And I've come to close up the greenhouse, so everything's looking pretty tired and wilted. So I'll get up early and water it all. I'm going to close that in a minute. I'll just take a quick whiz round here. Oops, blimey. So I managed to get all this grass cut today. Didn't manage to water. I was going to water, but all the water butts are dry. So down here in the corner of the garden is a gate, which is basically how we get access to the loch down there. It's actually a lovely night, considering it was so windy this morning. So yeah, cut all this grass today. Actually looks quite tidy. So we've still got piles of junk everywhere. At least that is on a very long-term to-do list. So that there is all the trees that we took down in the spring. These are comfrey. I'll see quite a lot of them. But they're actually surprisingly, for such a utilitarian plant, very, very pretty. The bees love them. So, yeah, there's no point in having a look around here, really. It's a bit sad, to be honest, the veg plot this year. Something's just not been right with growing this year. Beans are very sickly and weak. I don't know, for all my intentions of starting early and sowing my seeds early, and maybe that's the problem. Even the sunflowers that are big are just not looking great. And these are the cauliflowers which have all just basically been eaten. One by one they've gone in with the chickens. So I've got some more beans in here. Again, a bit of a test to see how they go. It's a bit of chard, and the kale is for the chickens at the back there. Look at this gorgeous. I believe it's like a candelabra primula or something like that, I think it's called. Really pretty. And the foxglove. He's out in force. And quite a pleasant evening. Yep, so that's it. I'm going to shut the greenhouse down. Go in and have a bath. Start again tomorrow. This is Violet. She's broody. I threw her out twice today, and she keeps coming back in, and I keep throwing her out again. She's a nuisance, aren't you? Hey, where are you going? Not bedtime yet, Violet. A purple borage. This is the first time I've grown white borage. I think it's gorgeous, and the bees seem to like it too. Okay, well, rain stopped play earlier, so we've been in for a bit, warming up. Yeah, this is June in the Highlands. Pretty chilly, rained on and off. We carried on working, but just to finish off, I wanted to just show some progress today. Hurrah! So these are the fruit bushes we talked about, and this, as you know from earlier, look like this all over. We've managed to clear all of that, so just a wee bit more to do tomorrow, or whenever we can face it. We've also strung up a bit of extra support for the blackcurrants. So yeah, that looks a lot better. Quite happy with that. Now I'm back in to get a nice warm cup of tea. Yeah, so that's it. Good productive weekend. Quite tired. Yeah, but really pleased with how the garden's coming on. It's been a bit of a labour of love. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. It's just starting to rain again. So that's it. If you suffered through 22 minutes of this video, thank you. Yeah, there we go.